ARH just announced earlier this week the online championships coming the second weekend of September. Just look at that spot class, kids. That is pretty freaking awesome. So with that on the horizon, what are the best online players running? For that, our best resource is none other than the July ARH League Top Cut. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and the Commando cast. Thanks for checking in once again, and happy Destiny Friday. Hope you've been getting plenty of those TTS reps in, hitting the roll button over and over again, right? Because that's right, as mentioned, the online championships are coming up for ARH for this set. You can be crowned the champion of this set. Look at that spot gloss. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I actually really like that. It's really the contrast on that with the blue. It's a good looking spot glass. I'd like to have one of those myself, but I digress. So what I wanted to do tonight was look at the ARH League decks. Now these came out a couple weeks ago, but we've had plenty going on with Gen Con and all that, because that's where the cool kids play. Of course, they play on TTS when they're not playing at Gen Con, but fair enough. All right, so we're going to go through the top 8 decks. Now, keep in mind, there's no order for this because it's a top 8 cut. They'll all do a playoff thing for it, and we'll see who wins. So first up just happens to be DC team member Casero. Congratulations for your top cut. This is a very interesting deck. So it's a bad guys underworld deck. They're at Jabba's palace. And this is the IGRM Thug Droid, Jabba the Hutt, and Bib Fortuna. Now, I do want to point out I had to do some editing to drag stuff around, so you'll notice the columns aren't in the normal spots they are in the deck builder. Otherwise, it's going to be too big. So either way, but he's running events and supports. All he's running, right? So you can take a guess at how this is going to go with your big yellow. You're going to kind of make some money. You're going to kind of fight a little dirty, pun kind of intended with that being the first event on there. And then you're going to play some big boys. And that's right, the Annihilator droid's in here, and that's the biggest of the big boys. Pretty freaking awesome. Pretty freaking awesome support, assuming you can afford it. But that's kind of what these folks do, the yellow villains, all right? So we've got 8D8, Annihilator droid, Black Stall Station. That's right, yes we do. C21 High Singer, the Den of Thieves. Why wouldn't you? 1 Desolate Deed, 2 Hostage Situations, 1 each of the Nico Sandriders, Mr. B. Crumb himself, and the Katana, and then 2 Tusken Camps, which is his restricted card, because again, why wouldn't you when you're running yellow? It seems to make sense to me. All right, for the events, we have Fight Dirty, Going Somewhere Solo, Mechanical Efficiency, Raise the Stakes, Scum and Villainy, and Trick. So this one's honestly pretty straightforward. I think it's really inventive, and it gets big dice on the table and kind of wins, and it's a 3-wide, and cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Nicely done. All right, next up is no stranger to not only a top cut, but winning the whole dang thing. That's right, it's DC team member and Gen Con champion, Destiny legend himself, Liquid Snake. That's right, on Palpatine and Dooku. I hear Dooku's pretty darn good. So he's got the red-yellow combo. He's on Palace of the Jedi. Now, you'll notice he's on a red-blue combo here. There's not a lot of red in the deck. There's only a couple reds in the deck. We're looking at Battle Tactics and Sinister Motives, as well as the best defense. Still put a little damage on Palpy. But you take a look at this, what he's running in terms of the upgrades. We've got Taro Mastery, Dark Devastation, Force Sense, Force Valor, One of the Force, and Yoda's Teachings. Those are some abilities. All right? For support, we have 2 Force Concealments, and then it's Tricky Tricks. Okay, Balance of the Force, Battle Tactics, Blue Milk, Contentious Opportunity, Grow Beyond, I Have Been Expecting You, On Guard, right, which makes sense for some of those resets, Rise Again, that's how you get the big boys back, and Sinister Motives, and then the best defense. So do note there's no Admiral, Tripe Tricks, or anything in here, right, just going straight up abilities, which makes sense with how these work, all right? So, nicely done there. Spartacus, this is a pretty cool list. I like that this works. It's on Cyber Center, but he's running Darth Vader and Palpatine, and that's right, they work together with Crucial Intel. And you just look this over, this one's a little more balanced, although still definitely skewed towards the blue, which, again, I think makes sense with the way that you're going with the deck. But you look at it, Taru Mastery, Meditation, Darth Vader's lightsaber, it's pretty good. This one does run Emperor. Okay, we've got Retaliation, 2 Force Valors, which is also very good. And then in Uncompromising, you can get to kind of look down at the event list and see a lot of the same type of stuff going on, except he's got a little more tricks, right? Running Intel Breach, Name the System, Power of the Tribe is in there, obviously. And then we have Raz again, to be expected, especially if you're running those big 5 drops like Emperor. All right, Stubby. So I want to give a huge shout out to this deck. I'm really excited about this. And it's kind of funny, it actually ruined what is next week's cast, because the point of next week's cast is I was going to talk about how Dedra is kind of cool and I like her, but we haven't seen any decks with her. And then Stubby gone, done, and did it. So nicely done, Stubby. Run a Perimeter Outpost, Surveillance and Seizure with Dedra and Major Partagos, I think is how you say that. I'm not exactly sure, but it's all ISB. I love it. Spies, well, detect without spies and all that stuff. Okay, so this one's obviously mono red. The running Perimeter Outpost is kind of tricky with the back and forth and being able to get the 2 actions. But if you look at this, there's quite a few one-ofs in here. Okay, so Cruel Tactician General, 2 Imperial Rules, 1 Repeating Blaster, a Photon Grenade, a Standard Blaster, a Tyrant, and then 2 Uncompromising. We do have 2 ISB Central Office. That makes a lot of sense. 2 Command, Effective Intelligence, Fire Across the Galaxy, and Imperial Justice, all one-ofs. With the exception of Command, I meant those last 3. Intel Breach, Name the System, makes sense. Powerless Tribe, makes sense. Probe, absolutely makes sense. Actually really makes sense in this deck with what you're trying to do. The best defense ×1. That one, surprisingly, that was something clearly must have tested that was the right number. Again, you've got the 2 red targets, so best defense seems really strong, but again, there's a lot of other really strong stuff in here. And then 2 Uncharted Tactics. All right, next up, no stranger to the top cuts himself, Mr. Norman. We've got Ki-Adi-Mundi and Obi-Wan Kenobi mono blue on Palace of the Jedi. We've got lots of recycling going on with Ki. Makes sense. You look at those upgrades, that's 13 upgrades. That's a big list of upgrades. But hey, it makes sense when Ki's doing what Ki wants to do. So it makes complete sense. Again, you look at the events, this is pretty standard, what we would expect to be kind of a blue hero list. You got a lot of the tricks, you got a lot of the recycling, you got a lot of the making monies and stuff, a lot of the healings. It sounds really good there. All right, moving on. Patrick P.E. is running, this is an inventive deck. I actually didn't put this one together because the auto for me was kind of Marva with Cassian and all that. This is a really inventive deck as well. So we've got Nemec's Manifesto and Riot Shield, and other than that, it's a support deck, right? Hanger 3/5, trying to do what he can do, getting out those big stuff, and then looking at the events, again, it's very much a support package. So cool deck there as well. And then we have 0 Hour running a dangerous deck, because Mother Talzin is really scary, I think. I think she's really good. But, we don't see her necessarily as much, but I think she's good. So Taboka City, we have Fortified Position, Mother Talzin, and then Palpatine. You'll notice that Papa Palp, actually, I guess this isn't Papa Palp, this is pre-Papa Palp, Uncle Palp, maybe. He's in a lot of these decks, which is pretty interesting. He's got a good price point. He can kind of, do 2 things. Makes sense. All right, we do have downgrades in here, running Hex and Weak Mind, total of 4 of them. And then the upgrades, we have 14 upgrades. All right, we do have 2 copies of Emperor, 2 Riot Shields, and then Uncompromising. Those are the reds. The rest are just kind of stuff. Okay, makes sense. We do have Water of Life, which makes a lot of sense. Then for the events, it's all blue, Balance of Force, Blue Milk, Command. Actually, that's not true at all, because Command is red, as is Power of the Tribe, and Furies of Grey. So I don't know why I said that. And then Magical Ichor, like I said, Power of the Tribe. All right, and then last up, we've got the Vitches. The Vitches are out, okay? Lots of blue. We've seen a lot of blue in these top lists, which I don't think is too much of a surprise. So we have Palace of the Jedi, we've got Asajj and Alaya, and they're running downgrade 6 in this case, Life Drain, Poison Dart, or Weak Mind. Running a support here, they are running Asajj's Gingivitis class Starfighter. That's obviously a joke, but that's what I see every time I read that. Then if you look at the upgrades, you've got Asajj Lightsaber. I do find it interesting only running 1. That seems good enough to potentially run 2, but hey, I get it, it's unique. We have Ataru Mastery, Force Assistance, Force Sense, Jar Kai, 1 copy of that, 2 Killian, which makes a lot of sense, especially on villain. It feels better on villain. It does, right, with the ping. And then a training lightsaber. Then you look at the events, and again, it's just kind of blue stuff, right? It's kind of what you would expect. Does have Rise Again in there, though, right? Which, again, I think is pretty strong when you have a big. I think that tracks. So yeah, that rounds out the top 8. There's some pretty inventive stuff in there. But again, if you look at it overall, there's a lot of blue. And there's a lot of Palpatine, which it's with blue, right? So, aside from, and actually if you really, go look at it, there's really only 2 decks that are running. Actually, I take it back. We have because the mono red, and then we have the mono yellow, the mono red, and then we've got the, let's call it what was the name of the planet they were on? I'm forgetting. Whatever, anyway, in Andor, whatever planet they were on, that base deck, right? The Rebellion base deck. And actually, I guess Karis probably was never on that, so didn't need to know the name of the planet. But either way, it's a good time. So, all right, so that's your top 8. So, again, we are, 2 weeks-ish away from the championships. So everyone should start locking in their decks and brewing and testing and learn how to play them. So, no last-minute pivots, kids, but you're going to last-minute pivot. Anyway, folks, thanks for checking in. Let me know in the comments below if these are one of your decks. Again, congratulations for the top cut. Good luck as you play it out. Let us know how it's going. And if nothing else, folks, go Commando.